The fate of millions of people hangs in the balance. What happens in Sudan in the days ahead may decide whether a people who have endured too much war move towards peace or slip backwards into bloodshed. And what happens in Sudan matters to all of sub-Saharan Africa, and it matters to the world.
Welcome to a special episode of West Wing Week focused on Sudan. We traveled with General Scott Gration, the President's special envoy, to go behind the scenes at the historic referendum that could result in the world's newest nation, and to see conditions on the ground in Darfur, where the U.S., along with our international partners, hopes to broker a lasting peace.
Hello.
On Saturday, we arrive in Juba, the capital of southern Sudan, currently an autonomous region in Sudan. Preparations for the week-long referendum are visible everywhere in this sprawling city. Though the official results may be some time in coming, Juba is booming with construction in anticipation of the expected secession of the South. Infrastructure is still sparse. The whole of South Sudan has fewer than 40 miles of paved roads. At the headquarters of the Southern Sudan Referendum Bureau, the General was joined by Senator John Kerry, chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, to meet with the Southern Sudan Referendum Commission Deputy Chair, Justice Chan.
This is Senator John Kerry, and this is General Scott Gration, Special Envoy.
They were shown around the Return Center, where poll results will be received from all over Southern Sudan, to be confirmed electronically with built-in redundancies to ensure fairness and that the vote reflects the will of the Southern Sudanese people.
They input the data from there to here, and they repeat the same again there.
President Obama has personally invested in Sudan. He is briefed every day on what happens here. And that same commitment will continue after the referendum.
On Sunday, January 9th, the excitement was palpable as the Southern Sudanese people flocked to polling centers. The Dr. John Garang Mausoleum Polling Center, named after the founder of the current Southern Sudanese political movement, was among the most crowded.
Makes you appreciate our independence.
The president of Southern Sudan, SALVA KIIR, also chose this memorial to cast his vote in front of thousands of his fellow citizens and the international press. The comprehensive peace agreement signed in 2005 between North and South laid the groundwork for this historic day. But as General Gration pointed out to a member of the local press, there is still work to be done.
South votes for secession. There's several agreements that have to take place. Obviously, to complete the comprehensive peace agreement, notably is a solution on ABA, oil revenues, debt, citizenship, and so we'll be working with the parties as they come up with agreements.
General Gration and Senator Kerry also visited other polling stations in Juba to observe the techniques used at the polls and to speak with international observers from organizations like the European Union and the Carter Center.
Well, this is really a historic moment. It's a culmination of 4 decades of struggle. It's a culmination of a lot of hours of negotiation and agreement. And to see the people lined up, some of them since midnight last night, it's really a pleasure and an honor to see.
General Gration took some time that afternoon to hear from international observers like the Norwegian Special Envoy Tom Vraalsen, and to discuss conditions on the ground across the country with President Jimmy Carter and former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. On Monday, before General Gration left Juba for other parts of southern Sudan, he stopped in to see President KIIR and reiterate the commitment of the United States to the peaceful processes agreed to by all the concerned parties of Sudan. Our next stop was the city of Malakal, capital of Upper Nile State, situated along the banks of that famed river. General Gration was greeted by the governor of the province, Simon PUOCH.
The main purpose of my visit is to take a look at how the polling activities are going. You had enough training, books, supplies?
Okay, books.
Also, we have a Joint Operations Center here, and I'll be visiting that facility.
The Joint Operations Center, or JOC, is a U.S.-funded venture that enables local authorities to share information on conflict or other potential problems with a speed that was previously impossible.
Well, I see that you have SAF activities, migration, IDP, and militia threats. Of those, what is the rank ordering, or what are the ones that you worry about most? The process coming together.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Our next stop was Bentiu, the capital of Unity State, where the general stopped in to meet with the governor Taban Dang and Riek Machar, the vice president of southern Sudan.
We've had an opportunity to visit several places. Is your finger buck?
This one.
There you go. We've gotten a good briefing on the future plans for education and healthcare and food security. And we want to be partners with the leadership team here to see what can be done to bring development into this critical land.
General Gratian also visited a return camp in Bentiu, where southern Sudanese who are living in the north have stopped on their way to their former homes in the south. Some people are presently stuck in these camps with little more than mattresses and no shelter from the elements.
They decided to move to the south to participate in the referendum because they were afraid of the security, or what was the situation?
He heard firsthand that folks had moved down to participate in the referendum, but that there were not always homes to return to. It's one of the most important issues that will have to be dealt with post-referendum. On Wednesday, we arrive in El Fasher, the capital of North Darfur, for a two-day trip through this region of Sudan. The general's first stop is to meet with the deputy governor of North Darfur and introduce Ambassador Dane Smith as President Obama's senior advisor on Darfur.
He has the full confidence of the President and the Secretary of State.
My appointment indicates increased investment on the part of the United States in the diplomacy of Darfur and in the effort to bring recovery and development to its people.
El Fasher is also the center of the United Nations African Union Mission in Darfur, or UNAMID. This joint operation is responsible for security and protecting humanitarian assistance for the Darfuri people. As negotiations around Darfur continue, one of the main hopes of the United States is that UNAMID supports the durable solutions reached through negotiations and consultations with Darfur's many stakeholders, in the same way the comprehensive peace agreement with the North and South had to be implemented effectively to put the wheels in motion for the referendum.
The kind of things we need to talk about is how do we help UNAMID be the most effective force that it can be to take on some of the changing missions, because I got to tell you, if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to get what we have.
Next stop was to travel with UNAMID to Tawila, where there is a UN team site that serves the humanitarian and security needs of Darfuris living in the area and those who have been displaced by conflict. After greeting the UNAMID forces and receiving a briefing on the security situation, General Gratian and Ambassador Smith met with community leaders of the more than 50,000 internally displaced peoples.
For years, you've been living in very bad conditions. You've been involved and getting caught up in conflict. You've suffered and sacrificed, and we cannot let this situation continue, and we want to know how we can change this situation.
While infrastructure and supplies in the IDP camps and education for the children rank very high among the needs of the people here, it is the lack of security that keeps them from returning to their homes. They make this point very clear. On Thursday, when General Gratian continued his inspection tour of Darfur, security was again the paramount concern among the people. The first stop was in Darabat, a beautiful and normally vibrant mountain town known for its oranges. The government of Sudan retook this town from rebels recently, a step that the government hoped would lead to greater feelings of security among the populace. But we arrived to find an army garrison guarding an empty town, houses and businesses abandoned, the air eerily quiet. General Gratian spoke to the deputy governor and other officials about the situation.
So they're scattered in the farms in Sunni,
How far away is that?
15 kilos.
We make 2 additional stops in South Darfur before heading to Khartoum, visiting Khor Abeche and Shongil Tobaya, the scene of recent fighting between the government of Sudan and Darfuri rebel groups.
This referendum and things settle down between the North and South, this should bring more stability to this region, I would think. Because all these rebels were waiting to see if there would be tension, if they could join forces with the SLA. And if that option goes away, we have an opportunity here to bring stability.
That's right.
And to bring the change and development that's required for these people.
Both locations are also host to UNAMID bases. These are places where internally displaced persons afraid to return to their homes have gathered for security since the fighting last month. Without a change in the situation, there are fears that these camps will become permanent. General Gratian was also able to speak to the folks who live in the camps, to find out directly from them the conditions they live in, and to let them know that the United States stands ready to help.
My question to somebody is, has there been any accountability? Has there been any justice? Has there been any arrests for those who have burned the villages and for those who have raped the women, and for those who have caused you the pain that you currently live under. We'll also work to bring peace to the entire Darfur region because you all have endured too much, you've been through too much, you've sacrificed too much, you've suffered too much, and tomorrow must be better than today, and tomorrow must be significantly better than yesterday.
On Friday, we arrive in Khartoum, the capital of Sudan, where the blue and white Nile rivers meet. With 2 days left in the southern Sudanese referendum, the mood on the streets of Khartoum is subdued, as only a small percentage of southern Sudanese are registered to vote in Khartoum. The polling places are quiet. We visit one on the outskirts of the city, in Soba.
How do you secure this at night?
No, we left it here because there are police here around this area. Yes.
So this box is secured from the outside.
While in Khartoum, General Gratian also spoke to regional and international press to take questions about his trip.
What's really at stake for the U.S. in Sudan, South, North, what's exactly politically, economically?
One of the main reasons that countries like the United States are here is that this country has suffered so much. As you know, 2 million people roughly died in the South in their struggle for independence. In Darfur, the numbers are somewhere around 300,000 people have died, and we don't want Sudan to experience another situation like that.
On Saturday, a quad-party meeting was convened by African Union Sudan panel chairman Thabo Mbeki, with delegations headed by UNAMID Joint Special Representative Ibrahim Gambari, U.S. Special Envoy Gratian, and Sudanese government presidential advisor Dr. GHAZI Salahuddin. During the meeting, they discussed the Darfur peace process and plans to complement elements of the negotiations in Doha to real-world conditions in Darfur.
Today, I mean, I think we came up with a lot of areas of cooperation.
It's gone very well, and thanks for the contribution.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your leadership, and this is an opportunity where we can continue to work together.
As the sun set on Saturday, polls closed all across Sudan, ending the referendum. At this polling station, just north of the Blue Nile, there was a small rush of activity just before the 6 p.m. deadline after a very slow couple of days.
747. The last one.
Poll workers then set about counting the ballots to ensure the same number were handed out as ended up in the box. All numbers and calculations are double-checked on the spot. The ballots are then separated into 4 categories under the watchful eyes of several domestic and international observers who each tabulate the totals for themselves. The categories are unity, secession, blank, and spoiled. Though the vote is expected to break overwhelmingly pro-secession, especially in the South, at this polling center, so far to the north, unity runs neck and neck with secession. The final tally is 155 for unity and 167 for secession. After marking down the numbers in the official referendum book and having it approved by all present, all voting materials are secured and the results sent to a central location like the one we toured in Juba 1 week ago. Finally, the results are posted outside for people to see, not just here at this polling station, but all across Sudan and even at several polling stations around the world, including the U.S. An effort at transparency and accountability that has been at the heart of this referendum and at the heart of the comprehensive peace agreement that made it possible.
I want to speak directly to the people of Sudan, North and South. In your lives, you have faced extraordinary hardship, but now there's the chance to reap the rewards of peace. It's a future where children, instead of spending the day fetching water, can go to school and come home safe. It's a future where families back in their homes can once again farm the soil of their ancestors. So that is the future that beckons the Sudanese people, North and South, East and West. That is the path that is open to you today. And for those willing to take that step, to make that walk, know that you will have a steady partner in the United States of America.
Thanks so much for watching this special West Wing Week on Sudan. For more information, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
Warmly welcome General Gratian. He has been an ally, sometimes a critic, but always a friend.
Constructive.
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 And somebody compares General Gratian as a force to a force of nature.